The air hung heavy and still, a velvet cloak draped over the slumbering land as the wandering knight Sir Kale made his quiet way through the ancient, whispering woods. Each leaf, damp with the evening's soft dew, seemed to hold a tiny, sparkling secret, reflecting the faint, silvery glow of a distant, crescent moon peeking shyly through the dense canopy. His armor, though strong and true, was old and muted, its once bright gleam softened by countless journeys and the gentle caress of time, so that now it barely chinked or clanked, a welcome hush accompanying his every careful step. The forest floor, a rich tapestry of fallen leaves and soft moss, cushioned his heavy boots, absorbing the faint sound of his passage, allowing him to move with an almost ethereal silence, as if he were but a shadow amongst the deepening shades of twilight. It wasn't a journey of urgency, no desperate quest driven by a sudden, jarring clang of battle or the urgent cry for aid. No, this was a deliberate, meandering path, chosen for its very tranquility, a journey undertaken purely for the quiet solace it offered to a weary soul. His destination was not a grand castle or a bustling town, but rather a feeling, a sense of inner peace that he sought in the profound stillness of the natural world, far from the clamor and expectations of the realms he had once protected. He carried no heavy shield tonight, no sword at his hip, just a simple, well-worn wooden staff, smooth and comforting beneath his gloved hand, its tip gently probing the soft earth ahead. It was a guide, yes, but also a companion, sharing in the quiet rhythm of his breath and the slow, deliberate beat of his heart. The staff was carved with subtle, almost imperceptible patterns, etchings of forgotten constellations and symbols of ancient, benevolent spirits, each line a whisper from times long past. He didn't rush. Oh no, there was no need for haste here. Haste was for battles and emergencies, for the urgent matters of the world. Here in this sacred, hushed domain, time itself seemed to slow, stretching out like the long, elegant shadows cast by the gnarled, ancient trees, inviting contemplation and calm. The scent of damp earth mingled with the sweet, subtle perfume of night-blooming jasmines and the earthy fragrance of pine needles, a soothing symphony for his senses. He breathed deeply, slowly, allowing the cool, clean air to fill his lungs, feeling the tension that often clung to his shoulders begin to gently unravel, dissipating like morning mist under the gentle warmth of the rising sun. A soft, almost imperceptible rustle stirred in the undergrowth nearby, and Kale paused, not out of alarm but out of a gentle curiosity. It was likely a small creature, a field mouse or a sleepy badger, going about its nocturnal wanderings, undisturbed by his presence. He had always held a deep respect for the creatures of the forest, understanding that they were integral to its quiet magic, guardians of its silent wisdom. He waited patiently, allowing the forest to reassert its natural rhythm around him, until the soft sounds faded once more into the general hush. The trees themselves seemed to breathe, their branches swaying almost imperceptibly, creating a faint, continuous sigh that was more felt than heard. Some of these trees, he mused, must have stood for centuries, silent witnesses to countless seasons, untold stories whispered through their leaves, carried on the gentle currents of the wind. They were monuments of quiet strength, their roots delving deep into the earth, anchoring them against the fiercest storms, their topmost branches reaching towards the distant stars, yearning for the mysteries of the cosmos. He continued his measured pace, one foot carefully placed before the other, each step a testament to his deliberate intention to move through the world with grace and gentleness. The path, barely visible in the dim light, was winding and uneven, but he knew it well, or rather, he felt it. His journey through these woods was not about following a marked trail, but about sensing the subtle shifts in the earth, the faint whispers of the wind guiding him, the almost imperceptible pull of the forest's heart. He was attuned to it, a connection forged over many quiet nights spent beneath the open sky, far from the clamor of human settlements. The air grew cooler as he delved deeper, and a thin, ethereal mist began to weave its way through the trees, swirling lazily around the trunks, creating an even more dreamlike atmosphere. It clung to the lowest branches, transforming the familiar shapes of the forest into soft, indistinct forms like half-forgotten memories. A distant, faint hoot of an owl broke the profound silence, a lonely yet comforting sound that resonated through the stillness, a natural counterpoint to the quiet rustling of leaves. It was a reminder that even in the deepest slumber of the night, life continued its gentle, unseen dance. Kale lifted his gaze towards the sound, though the owl remained hidden, a master of its nocturnal domain. He imagined its silent flight, its keen eyes piercing the gloom, its soft feathers making no sound as it navigated the intricate labyrinth of the branches. He had often felt a kinship with such creatures, those who moved with purpose and quiet dignity, embracing the solitude of their existence. There was a profound wisdom in observation, in simply being present, allowing the world to unfold around you without the need for constant interaction or intervention. His thoughts drifted, not in a chaotic jumble, but like slow-moving clouds across a vast, clear sky, each one distinct, yet gently connected to the next. He thought of the many faces he had seen, the stories he had heard, the triumphs and tragedies that had shaped his past. But tonight, these memories were not sharp or demanding. They were softened, blurred at the edges, like old photographs gently faded by time. They were simply there, a part of the rich tapestry of his life, acknowledged and then allowed to recede, leaving space for the present moment, for the simple, profound beauty of the whispering woods. He focused on the sensation of his feet on the earth, the soft press of the moss, the firm give of the soil beneath his weight. He noticed the delicate patterns of light and shadow, the way the moonlight, even diffuse, painted intricate designs on the forest floor, constantly shifting with his slow movement. A small stream, barely a trickle in this dry season, made its presence known with a faint, gurgling murmur, a sound so subtle it could easily be missed if one were not listening with intentional calm. Kale paused beside it, bending slightly to dip a gloved finger into the cool, clear water. It was surprisingly cold, invigorating, a small spark of life in the quiet expanse. He watched as a single, delicate leaf, perhaps dislodged by the gentle breeze, drifted slowly downstream, twirling gracefully in the languid current until it disappeared from sight around a gentle bend. There was a quiet lesson in that leaf's journey, a metaphor for letting go, for allowing the currents of life to carry one where they may, trusting in the unseen flow. He stood there for a long moment, simply observing, simply being, feeling the gentle chill in the air and the subtle movement of the water. The path, if one could even call it a path, began to ascend a very gradual incline, leading him deeper into what felt like the very heart of the forest. The trees here seemed older still, their trunks thicker, their branches more gnarled, imbued with an ancient wisdom that resonated with his own spirit. He imagined them as silent sentinels, standing guard over untold secrets, their very existence a testament to endurance and the slow, relentless march of time. The air grew even quieter here, as if the dense foliage absorbed all extraneous sound, leaving only the soft cadence of his own breathing and the distant, almost inaudible hum of the forest itself. It was a sound that reminded him of the deep, resonant tone of a large bell struck very softly, its vibrations lingering in the air long after the initial impact. He came across a small clearing, bathed in the soft, diffused moonlight, where the mist seemed to gather and swirl with a more ethereal quality. In the center stood a single ancient stone worn smooth by centuries of wind and rain, covered in a delicate filigree of moss and lichen. It wasn't a grand monument, simply a natural outcropping, yet it possessed a quiet power, a sense of having witnessed countless seasons, countless dawns and dusks. Kale approached it slowly, respectfully, and then with a soft sigh he settled himself down at its base, his back resting against the cool, firm stone. It was a perfect spot, a natural sanctuary where he could simply be, without expectation or demand. He closed his eyes, not to sleep, not yet, but to further deepen his connection with the surrounding quietude, to allow his other senses to become even more attuned. With his eyes closed, the subtle sounds of the forest became even more pronounced, yet remained utterly calming. The gentle whisper of the breeze through the topmost branches, a sound like distant, hushed voices telling ancient tales. The soft, almost inaudible scuttling of unseen creatures in the undergrowth, their tiny lives unfolding in harmony with the vastness of the night. The faint, sweet chirping of a cricket, a persistent, rhythmic lullaby that seemed to slow his very pulse. He felt the subtle vibrations of the earth beneath him, a steady, grounding presence that reminded him of his connection to something larger, something infinitely ancient and enduring. His breath became deeper, slower, each inhale a drawing in of peace, each exhale a release of any lingering tension. He pictured the vast expanse of the night sky above the dense canopy, even though he couldn't see the stars from his sheltered spot. He imagined the constellations, those familiar patterns etched into the fabric of the cosmos, slowly wheeling overhead, guiding unseen travelers and marking the passage of immeasurable time. He thought of the sheer scale of it all, the infinite silence of space, and how his own small existence, a flicker of awareness in the vastness, was inextricably linked to this grand cosmic dance. It was a humbling thought, yet also profoundly comforting, reminding him that he was part of something immense and beautiful, a tiny thread in an unimaginably vast tapestry. This perspective often brought a sense of calm, dissolving the trivial worries and anxieties that sometimes attempted to cling to his mind. A soft, almost imperceptible shift in the air signaled the slow, gentle progression of the night. He remained still, a statue of quiet contemplation, allowing the forest's energy to flow around and through him. There was no need to speak, no need to act, no need to strive. Simply to exist in harmony with the natural world was enough. He felt the moss beneath his hands, cool and soft, a living cushion connecting him to the earth's nurturing embrace. The scent of pine and damp soil enveloped him, a natural aromatherapy that soothed his senses and invited a deeper state of relaxation. He knew that many people in the bustling cities, far from this tranquil sanctuary, struggled to find such moments of stillness, constantly bombarded by noise and demands. He felt a quiet gratitude for the opportunity to immerse himself in this profound quietude. His mind continued its gentle wanderings, recalling snippets of old legends and forgotten lore, tales of benevolent spirits and ancient guardians of the woods. He remembered stories of luminous fireflies that guided lost travelers, of mystical streams that held healing properties, of trees that whispered secrets to those who knew how to listen. These were not tales to be dissected or analyzed, but rather to be savored, to be allowed to drift through his consciousness like wisps of smoke, leaving behind a subtle trace of wonder and magic. They spoke of a world beyond the ordinary, a realm where beauty and mystery intertwined, where the veil between the seen and unseen was thin and permeable. He felt a quiet resonance with these stories, believing that the world held far more magic than most people dared to imagine. The mist around him seemed to thicken slightly, not in an oppressive way, but in a gentle, almost ethereal embrace, softening the edges of the clearing and blurring the distinction between reality and dream. It felt as if he were enveloped in a soft, natural cocoon, protected from the outside world, invited into a deeper state of calm. He wondered about the journey he had taken, not just this night, but over the years, the winding paths that had led him to this very spot, this particular moment of profound peace. Each choice, each step, each encounter had been a thread in the loom of his life, weaving together the intricate pattern of his existence. And now, in this quiet stillness, he could perceive the beauty of that pattern, the inherent wisdom in its design, even the detours and challenges. The hoot of the owl returned, closer this time, a deeper, richer sound that resonated in the quiet air, a gentle reminder of the forest's nocturnal life. He imagined the owl perched on a high branch, its golden eyes scanning the depths of the shadows, a silent hunter, yet also a symbol of wisdom and patient observation. He admired its ability to move through the darkness with such effortless grace, to find sustenance in the most subtle of movements. It was a master of its domain, perfectly adapted to its environment, living in harmony with the rhythms of the night. He thought about how often humans struggled to find their place, to live in harmony with their own natural rhythms, constantly fighting against the flow rather than embracing it. He shifted slightly, settling more deeply against the ancient stone, feeling its cool, stable presence against his back. It was a timeless anchor in a world of constant change. His breathing continued its slow, steady rhythm, each breath a gentle wave washing over his body, carrying away any remaining fragments of restlessness or worry. He focused on the sensation of the air entering his nostrils, cool and fresh, and then leaving his lips warm and soft. It was a simple yet profoundly powerful practice, this conscious awareness of breath, a direct gateway to inner stillness. He had learned its importance over many years of solitary journeys, understanding that true strength often lay not in physical prowess, but in the calm mastery of one's own mind and spirit. The subtle scent of distant rain, a faint petrichor carried on an almost imperceptible breeze, began to mingle with the existing aromas of the forest. It was a precursor, a gentle promise of moisture that would refresh the leaves and nourish the roots, further deepening the verdant embrace of the woods. He imagined the first delicate droplets falling, tapping softly on the leaves, creating a gentle symphony of sound that would soon replace the hoot of the owl and the chirping of the cricket. There was a quiet beauty in these transitions, these subtle shifts in the natural world, each one a testament to the ongoing cycle of life, death, and renewal. He welcomed the thought of rain, finding a deep sense of peace in its cleansing presence. He allowed his mind to drift towards the vast, deep ocean, imagining its rhythmic ebb and flow, its endless, soothing murmur against distant shores. He pictured the gentle sway of kelp forests beneath the waves, the silent, graceful movements of schools of fish, the profound depths where light never reached. Even though he was deep in a forest, the imagery of the ocean brought a similar sense of expansive calm, a reminder of the vast interconnectedness of all natural elements. The sounds he imagined were soft, distant, like the muted roar of waves breaking far away, or the gentle swish of water against a rocky coastline. It was a beautiful contrast, the deep green stillness of the forest merging with the imagined blue depths of the sea, both offering a profound sense of tranquility. The mist around him now seemed to shimmer with a faint, almost imperceptible luminescence, reflecting the distant moonlight in a soft, pearlescent glow. It wasn't a bright light, but a subtle, ethereal radiance that imbued the clearing with an otherworldly beauty, as if he had stumbled into a dreamscape. The ancient stone he leaned against seemed to hum with this gentle energy, a silent resonance that flowed through him, deepening his sense of belonging and peace. He felt entirely safe, entirely at ease, completely enveloped by the benevolent embrace of the forest. There was no threat here, no urgency, only the profound invitation to simply rest, to let go, to allow the gentle currents of the night to carry him towards a deep and restorative slumber. He considered the concept of time itself, how it felt so different in this quiet setting. In the cities, time was a relentless current, always rushing, always demanding, pulling people forward with an insistent urgency. Here in the heart of the ancient woods, time felt like a vast, still lake, its surface barely rippling, reflecting the eternal sky. Moments stretched out, dissolving into each other with seamless grace, making the passage of hours feel like mere minutes. This slowing of time was a precious gift, allowing the mind to truly unwind, to release its grip on the constant need for measurement and progress. It was a space for simply being, for experiencing the richness of the present moment without the pressure of a ticking clock. A soft, almost melodic sigh of the wind passed through the highest branches, a sound like a gentle lullaby whispered by an invisible spirit. It was a comforting sound, a natural harmony that added another layer to the intricate symphony of the night. He felt a quiet gratitude for these simple, yet profound moments, for the opportunity to disconnect from the external world and reconnect with his inner self, guided by the soothing rhythms of nature. This was his true adventure, not one of clashing swords and heroic deeds, but one of inner exploration, of seeking stillness in a world often consumed by chaos. It was a journey of the soul, a quiet pilgrimage towards peace. He felt the subtle warmth radiating from his own body, a gentle counterpoint to the cool night air, a reminder of the life force that flowed within him. His muscles, though accustomed to the rigors of travel and battle, were now relaxed, softened, letting go of any residual tension. His mind, once a bustling marketplace of thoughts and concerns, was now a serene garden, peaceful and still, where only the most delicate and beautiful thoughts were allowed to bloom, and even those were fleeting, dissolving into the vast, open space of his consciousness. It was a state of profound peace, a deep, restorative calm that permeated his very being. The image of a gentle waterfall came to mind, a soft, continuous cascade of water over smooth, moss-covered rocks, creating a constant, soothing murmur. He imagined its sound, not a roaring torrent, but a quiet, rhythmic rush, a natural white noise that could easily lull one into a deep and peaceful sleep. He pictured the glistening surface of the water, reflecting the moonlight in 1,000 tiny, shimmering fragments, each one catching and releasing the light in a mesmerizing dance. It was a vision of pure, unadulterated serenity, a place where all worries would simply melt away, carried downstream by the gentle currents. He focused on the rhythm of his breathing once more, allowing it to become even slower, even deeper, until it felt almost effortless, an automatic function of his body, requiring no conscious thought. Each inhale brought a sense of quiet renewal, each exhale a gentle release. He was not striving for anything, not trying to achieve a particular state, but simply allowing himself to be carried by the natural rhythm, to surrender to the peaceful flow. This passive acceptance, this gentle letting go, was the essence of true relaxation, the doorway to a profound and restorative sleep. The faint scent of wild mint, crushed perhaps by a passing creature or stirred by the gentle breeze, reached his nostrils, a refreshing, subtle aroma that added another layer to the soothing sensory experience. It was a clear, clean fragrance, a breath of invigorating freshness amidst the earthy stillness. He savored it, allowing it to subtly awaken his senses without disturbing the overall calm. It was another small gift from the forest, a quiet reminder of its boundless generosity and its intricate web of life. He thought of the concept of home, not a physical dwelling, but a feeling, a state of being where one felt utterly safe, secure, and at peace. For Kale, in these moments of quiet communion with nature, surrounded by the whispering woods and the ancient stone, he felt a profound sense of coming home. It was a sanctuary for his spirit, a place where his true self could emerge, unburdened by the roles and responsibilities he carried in the outer world. Here he was simply Kale, a soul in search of quietude, a seeker of inner peace. The mist continued its gentle dance around him, swirling and weaving, transforming the clearing into an ethereal chamber, a sacred space where the boundaries of reality seemed to soften and blur. He felt a sense of timelessness, as if he were suspended outside the ordinary flow of days and nights, existing in a realm purely dedicated to tranquility. The moonlight filtering through the soft veil of mist cast a faint, silvery sheen on everything, creating a muted, dreamlike palette of grays and soft greens. It was a visual lullaby, calming to the eyes and soothing to the mind. He remembered a particularly peaceful afternoon long ago, spent by a still, clear pond, watching dragonflies dart and hover above the water's surface, their delicate wings catching the sunlight. The memory was soft and hazy like a distant echo, yet it brought a renewed sense of quiet joy, a gentle affirmation of the simple beauties of life. He focused on the image of the pond's glassy surface, reflecting the sky and the surrounding trees with perfect clarity, a mirror of tranquility. The faint hum of insects, the rustle of reeds, the occasional plop of a frog jumping into the water, all these subtle sounds blended into a seamless tapestry of peace. His own breath felt increasingly shallow, yet deep, a paradox of perfect repose. It was as if his body was settling into a state of minimal effort, conserving energy, preparing for the profound rest that awaited him. He felt the weight of his limbs, heavy and relaxed, connected to the earth, yet also light, as if subtly floating. The sensations were subtle, yet undeniably present, guiding him deeper into the embrace of sleep. There was no resistance, no struggle, only a gentle surrender to the natural process. The distant sound of the stream, that faint gurgle, seemed to fade in and out like a quiet heartbeat of the forest, sometimes more prominent, sometimes receding into the background, always present, always soothing. It was a consistent yet unobtrusive sound, a perfect companion for the slow unwinding of the mind. He allowed his attention to simply rest on it, without analyzing, without judging, simply observing its gentle presence. This kind of mindful awareness was another pathway to relaxation, a way to anchor oneself in the present moment, releasing the grip of past regrets or future anxieties. He began to imagine the forest around him as a vast living entity, its ancient trees the bones, the winding paths the veins, the flowing water its lifeblood, and the gentle breezes its breath. He was but a small part of this grand living organism, moving in harmony with its rhythms, nourished by its silence, protected by its embrace. This holistic perspective brought a deep sense of belonging, a feeling of being interconnected with all of nature, dissolving any sense of isolation or separateness. It was a beautiful, comforting realization, a final balm for a weary spirit. The air grew even cooler, a gentle, refreshing chill that hinted at the approach of the deepest hours of the night, when the world truly gave itself over to slumber. He pulled his simple cloak a little tighter around him, not out of discomfort, but out of an instinct for cozy warmth, a gentle self-care. The fabric was soft and familiar, smelling faintly of wood smoke and damp earth, scents that brought a sense of comfort and security. It was like being wrapped in a familiar embrace, a final preparation for the journey into dreams. He reflected on the concept of solitude, how often it was misunderstood as loneliness. For him, solitude was a precious gift, a fertile ground for self-discovery and inner peace. It was in these quiet, solitary moments that he felt most connected, not to other people, but to the deeper currents of existence, to the universal spirit that permeated all things. It was a time for reflection, for introspection, for simply being in one's own company, without the need for external validation or distraction. And in this particular solitude, surrounded by the benevolent stillness of the forest, he found a profound sense of contentment. A tiny, almost imperceptible shimmer of light caught his attention, a fleeting spark deep within the mist, then gone. He didn't question it, didn't try to rationalize it. It was simply a moment of subtle magic, a testament to the unseen wonders that often grace the deep hours of the night. It was a reminder that the world held more than met the eye, more than could be easily explained, and that sometimes the greatest beauty lay in the mysterious and the ephemeral. He smiled faintly, a gentle, inner smile, appreciating the quiet enchantment. His thoughts continued to unfurl, like ancient scrolls slowly unrolling, revealing their wisdom one elegant line at a time. He considered the stars again, even though they remained hidden from his sight. He knew they were there, vast and distant, yet profoundly influential, their light traveling across unimaginable distances to reach the earth, carrying with them ancient stories of creation and cosmic wonder. He felt a deep reverence for this unseen majesty, understanding that even when hidden, its presence was undeniable, its influence profound. The last vestiges of his conscious mind began to recede, like the tide slowly pulling away from the shore, leaving behind a vast, calm expanse. The sounds of the forest, the gentle breeze, the distant hoot of the owl, the gurgle of the stream, all began to blend into a seamless ambient hum, a natural soundtrack to the onset of sleep. He was no longer actively listening or observing, but simply being absorbed by these gentle rhythms, allowing them to carry him effortlessly into the realm of dreams. His body felt heavy, wonderfully heavy, sinking into the earth, yet his spirit felt light, untethered, ready to drift. He imagined himself as a leaf, gently detaching from its branch, twirling softly in the air, then settling onto the surface of a calm, clear pond, slowly drifting across its reflective surface, carried by an imperceptible current. There was no effort, no resistance, only a graceful surrender to the flow. This image brought a final, profound wave of peace, dissolving any lingering tension, any remaining trace of wakefulness. He was ready to let go, to embrace the quiet oblivion of sleep, knowing that the forest would watch over him, its ancient wisdom and gentle presence a silent guardian through the night. The whispers of the wandering night had finally found their quiet rest, dissolving into the ancient, benevolent slumber of the woods, preparing for the gentle awakening that a new, serene dawn would bring. Every fiber of his being was now attuned to the deep, resonant hum of the earth as it spun gently through the cosmos, each star a silent guardian, each tree a patient witness to the profound peace that had settled upon him. His mind was a vast, open sky, clear and still, with only the occasional, fleeting wisp of a cloud drifting lazily across its expanse, not disturbing the profound blue, but merely adding to its quiet beauty. Cool air against his skin was a tender caress, a final soothing touch before the complete surrender to slumber. He felt the ancient stone against his back as a steady, unwavering presence, a timeless anchor in the drifting currents of the night. It pulsed faintly, he imagined, with the slow, deep heartbeat of the earth itself, a rhythm that was now perfectly synchronized with his own decelerating pulse. His breath became almost imperceptible, a gentle, continuous sigh, the very essence of quietude. He was becoming one with the forest, dissolving into its profound stillness, a gentle wave returning to the vast, calm ocean. The very idea of effort, of striving, of any kind of restless energy had completely evaporated, leaving behind only an expansive sense of serene acceptance. He was simply existing, exquisitely present in his absence of presence, slipping gracefully from wakefulness into the soft, comforting embrace of the dream world, where even the dreams themselves would likely be as gentle and uneventful as the night that now enfolded him, perhaps of slowly drifting clouds, or the quiet rustle of leaves in an endless, tranquil breeze. The night air was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, a natural incense that filled his lungs and further calmed his spirit, each inhale a deeper descent into peace, each exhale a release of all lingering thought. He was floating, not through space, but through a profound inner quiet, a boundless sea of tranquility where the concepts of up and down had no meaning, only the gentle, effortless drift. The sounds of the forest had softened to an almost inaudible murmur, like distant, hushed voices speaking in a language understood by the soul, not the mind. He felt utterly weightless, yet deeply grounded, a paradox of perfect relaxation. Every muscle, every fiber, every nerve ending in his body was now utterly still, completely at rest, released from the demands of gravity and consciousness. The faint shimmer of mist around him seemed to glow with an inner light, creating a sacred, luminous chamber just for him, a sanctuary of pure, unadulterated peace. He imagined his awareness as a tiny, radiant spark, gently dimming, receding deeper and deeper into the quietude of his being, until it was just a faint, warm glow, then fading further, dissolving into the vast, warm darkness of slumber. He was enveloped, cradled, protected by the ancient wisdom of the forest, its silent strength surrounding him like an impenetrable yet soft shield. The very air around him felt imbued with a benevolent energy, a timeless, nurturing force that soothed his spirit and calmed his mind. There was no past, no future, only this eternal, peaceful present, this boundless moment of utter stillness. He felt himself becoming part of the silent, slow-moving narrative of the ancient trees, their deep roots reaching into the earth, their branches stretching towards the sky, encompassing his sleep within their enduring embrace. His eyelids felt heavy, deliciously heavy, sealing away the last glimpses of the physical world, opening the gateway to the internal landscape of dreams, which promised to be as vast and serene as the night sky above. A final, almost imperceptible breath escaped his lips, a gentle sigh of complete contentment, as the wandering knight, Sir Kale, finally found his deepest rest, his journey of quietude culminating in a profound and uninterrupted slumber beneath the silent, watchful gaze of the ancient, whispering woods. He was utterly dissolved into the stillness, a single, perfect note in the vast, silent symphony of the night, utterly at peace, utterly